My childhood friend, a young psychologist, says he can feel my pain but all I want is to tease him. You're not here to heal, Julian says, voice barely steady. I grin. No, I'm here to break you. That's how I walked into his office after 10 years, unannounced, uninvited, and utterly unapologetic. A ghost from the past, wearing leather and sarcasm, while he sat there in a pressed shirt, pretending he wasn't falling apart inside. Julian and I grew up in a small town in Vermont, where being an omega and crushing on your beta best friend was something you either buried or burned. I chose to run. To New York. To noise. To strangers who didn't look at you like you were wrong for existing. He stayed. Went to Columbia. Became Dr. Julian Reeveshrink of the Year, or so the brass plate on his door says. But no title in the world could have prepared him for me. Why now? He asks. I toss my jacket on the floor, kick my boots off, stretch out on the couch like I own it. Needed someone to talk to. You don't talk. You detonate. He's right. I always did. But that's because words never worked for people like me. When I told my parents I liked Julian, they slapped the gay out of me. When I told the town sheriff his son had tried to force himself on me, I ended up in the hospital, not him. So I stopped talking and learned how to smile with knives in my teeth. Julian Thuff always listened, even when it hurt. Maybe that's why I kept coming back to him in my head. Even after I left. Even after I swore I'd never need anyone again. Tell me why you're really here, Eli. His voice cracks like he already knows the answer but doesn't want to say it out loud. I meet his eyes. Steady. Mean. Because you said you could feel my pain. And he goes still. Like I punched him in the gut with my words. Julian's gift or curse, depending on who you asked, was empathy. Not the fake kind. Real, chemical-level sensitivity. Some called it rare beta syndrome, some whispered about suppressed alpha traits. Whatever it was, he always knew what I felt before I did. Like the time I kissed him behind the church and he pulled away not because he didn't want to, but because he knew I wasn't ready. I was 12. He was 13. We never talked about it again. Until now. You're angry, he says. Wow, PhD really paid off. You're sad. Everyone is. You're scared. Silence. That's the thing about Julian. He never used force. Just truth. And truth, in his voice, felt like breaking and blooming at the same time. He leans forward. Eli, you've been avoiding therapy, connection, anyone who tries to get close. Why me? Because you never pitted me. And that, right there, is my confession. The only one I know how to give. For the next 3 weeks, I keep coming back. Sometimes we talk. Sometimes I yell. Sometimes I say nothing and just sit in his office while he types reports and pretends not to stare at me through the reflection in the glass. He's dating someone. Another beta. Tall, kind, stable. I hate him. Not because he's bad but because he's not me. Do you still feel it? I ask one day, watching the rain paint streaks down the window. Feel what? What I feel. Inside. Julian nods, slowly. Every time you walk into the room, it's like drowning. And you still let me in? He smiles, so sad it makes me ache. Because I'd rather drown with you than breathe without you. I almost kiss him then. But I don't. Because if I do, I might never stop. The past always finds a way to crawl back when you think you've buried it deep enough. For us, it arrives in the form of a funeral. My father dies. No warning. No closure. Just a call and a body in a casket I can't cry over. Julian drives me back to Vermont. We haven't been here together since high school. The town hasn't changed. But we have. People stare. Whisper. Judge. I let them. At the service, I stand silent. Julian's hand is close but not touching. Afterward, I find my childhood bedroom, untouched posters still peeling. Secrets still trapped in drawers. I sit on the floor and cry for the first time in years. Julian holds me, not as a doctor, but as the boy who once promised he'd never leave, and the man who didn't. I should have come back sooner. I choke. You weren't ready. You were always ready. No, he says, brushing a strand of hair from my face. I was just waiting. We kiss. Finally. No fear. No running. Just mouths pressed in a promise that tastes like grief and forgiveness. Back in New York, everything feels different. Julian ends his relationship. I end mine with my past. I start therapy for real this time. Not with him. That would be unethical, he says with a wink. But with someone else. I talk about the trauma, the betrayal, the guilt of leaving Julian behind when he needed me to. And slowly I start to heal. We spend weekends together. Cook, laugh, argue, make love like it's something sacred. I still tease him. He still overthinks. But now we do it together. One night, lying in bed, I ask him, "Do you still feel my pain?" He shakes his head. "No." I blink, startled. "You don't." "I feel your joy now." And that breaks me in the best way. Because for once, I'm not hurting someone to feel alive. I'm loving someone because I finally am. Years later, we open a community clinic together. For queer youth. For omegas like me who thought love meant pain. For betas like him who carry more than the world asks them to. We hang a plaque in the waiting room. It reads, "He felt my pain, but he taught me how to feel my own heart." And beneath it, our names. Side by side. Just like we always should have been. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.